Glad you're still with me. We're talking about the fourth theme right now, which is the economic systems, the creation, the development, and the integration of economic systems. And basic progression is fairly straightforward. We start with what I call survival economics. That's basically being a hunter-gatherer. I'm going to produce what I need, gather what I need, hunt for what I need immediately without any thought of long-term development. We're going to move from that into agricultural and pastoral production. Once we see the creation of agriculture, we start seeing people have to tend to that agriculture. And so they begin to grow food, they begin to herd sheep, keep geese, ducks, chickens, what have you. This is going to continue all the way through. This doesn't stop. Unlike some of the other basic progressions in the other themes, we move out of something and into something new. This never ceases. Any society that stops tending to its agricultural and pastoral production needs is going to starve to death pretty quickly. So that's a bad thing. We don't see that go away. So that's why there's this arrow running through underneath. Specialized production occurs when we start to see people who are making too much or who are needing other things to do with their time. I may grow too much corn to eat and feed myself. I need a way to store it. What will I store it in? Where will I go to find that? Well, turns out my neighbor is not that great a farmer, but he's really good at playing with clay, and so he makes me a nice bowl and a nice pot and a big giant vat that I can pour my corn into. And we trade. I get his stuff, he gets my stuff. Okay? So that specialized production comes about through a number of ways, but it only continues to grow. It never goes away. Once we start that process of you have something that I need, I have something that you need, and I'll swap you for it, we're now entering the era of trade and commerce. Now normally that's going to begin kind of locally. We're going to find that the two of us are neighbors, so we're going to do business together. But here in Massachusetts, we all know that if you want to get good stuff, sometimes you got to go far. And if you're going to go far, sometimes you got to go wicked far. And once you've started that, then you've begun that global network of interchange of goods and services, which revolves around this idea. What do people have? In each part of the world, different people have different things. Different people grow different things. Once we get to the point of having a surplus of that thing that we make, then we can start thinking about, well, what do other people want? Maybe they want what I grow. Maybe we can trade for it. How am I going to get that is the vital question that needs to be answered by these folks in order to start trading with the people who are far. Once you started that process, you need a medium of exchange. Because I can sit here and say, hey, I've got a sweater, you've got corn, I'll trade you a sweater for corn, and that's going to be a difficult transaction for us. If we can agree that there's something else that we both want or both like, then we can probably use that as currency. That may develop and start as shells. It could be shiny pieces of metal that are rather soft and kind of yellowish. It could be precious gems. It could be something completely different. But once we start having a medium of exchange, then we start having questions about what's wealth and what does it mean to be wealthy? For the vast majority of the societies we're ever going to look at, controlling resources is the key to being wealthy. Now for most places, that's land. I've got the most land, therefore I control the most agricultural and pastoral production. I am the wealthy guy. For other cultures, though, there's a question of stuff. I have the most stuff. You have stuff. I have more stuff than you have. I'm wealthier than you. And in the minority of places, we will see labor. I control the most labor, therefore I'm wealthy. I can compel people to work, and that is a form of wealth for me. Okay? Once we start looking at that, though, and we start asking that question, how do I get it? I've got currency, now I need to trade. So we're going to see overland trade and maritime trade show up. Once those start, we have the 4 M's. We have middlemen, merchants, merchandise. All right, those are the first 3. They're going to be the ones who travel, the ones who do the deal, who make the business, who move the goods back and forth, and that's the merchandise. And then we start seeing missionaries riding shotgun. Alongside the merchants come missionaries. Now, some merchants are missionaries by virtue of their religious faith being different from the people they trade with. Other religions organize and deliberately send out missionaries to recruit people. In order for there to be successful overland trade, empires and kingdoms must build roads. There must be ways for people to move quickly and smoothly and safely from point A to point B. So without roads, there's no overland trade. Maritime trade will develop once technology allows people to sail on the open sea and figure out where the heck they are. Once they can do that, then we're talking about massive quantities of a particular good being put on a boat and traveling much faster than people can walk. So maritime trade, particularly the Indian Ocean Basin, is an important thing for you all to look at. You can't talk about economic systems in a vacuum. Already in this talk I've referenced a whole bunch of the other themes. But we have to talk about the impact on social structure, because once we have questions of wealth and wealth management, we blow up the traditional social structure of haves and have-nots, and we start injecting people in the middle whose status is vague and uncertain. This is going to lead to tremendous turmoil in the time periods that we're looking at coming down the road, but it also has an impact immediately on the political system. If I control the land, and there's a separate king who has more power, me, the land controller, or the king. So there's a big amount of tension there, and we see a lot of monarchs and emperors act to take control of and empower themselves to be in charge of land, stuff, and labor. So economics plays a massive role in the social and political systems of the time as well. Your task, go through the different regions that we've looked at, the places we've talked about, and figure out specific examples where you can talk about each region meeting these various things.